Over 1 million mortgages are about to renew in Canada in 2025. And for the majority of Canadians with these mortgages, their payments are about to be higher. In fact, a brand new study just put out by Royal LePage is showing that 57% of Canadians with mortgage renewals in 2025 are going to experience higher payments. This mortgage renewal cliff we keep hearing about, which didn't happen last year, but a lot of focus has been put in 2025 just based on like how many mortgages are actually renewing and the rates that people initially had versus what they're going to be renewing at today. Now, the embargo has just been lifted for this new report. So there's going to be one of the first places on the internet you're going to see this data before it kind of gets out to the mainstream media. I'm going to break down what this report is saying, how it's actually going to impact the average Canadian, and does it mean that there's optimism in the market? Or is it just saying that like, hey guys, listen, realistically, it's going to be tough. If you want to stay in the house that you're currently in, you're going to have to stop spending in other areas of your life. So we're going to talk about first the key points of this report. I'm also going to link this report below so you can actually see all of it yourself. Now, Ledger did this survey for Royal LePage, and they interviewed just over, I think, like 1,300 people, maybe it was 1,200 people that were over 18 in Canada that had a mortgage renewal happening in 2025, and asked them a few questions, and I'm going to show you the answers that they gave. So first, I want to jump to the key points of this report. So more than half of Canadians renewing a mortgage this year expect their monthly payments to increase. I think we all kind of knew that was going to be the case. 1 in 10 are considering downsizing, relocating, or move to a more affordable region or renting. So basically 10% of Canadians with their mortgage renewal, it's forcing them to think that they might be making a move because of the higher payments. Okay, so let's break this down here and see what it says. In terms of the highlights, 57% of Canadians whose mortgages are renewing in 2025 anticipate their monthly payments will go higher. So there you go. That's the number, at least based on this survey, that over 50% of people with mortgages, I would have actually thought this number would have been higher based on like how low the mortgage payments were when they took these rates in the twos. But I would expect what we're going to find out is that a good portion of people renewing mortgages actually have variable rates and have already had a higher rate, maybe actually renewing into a fixed, which means their payment might actually be lower than what they're experiencing. Among those who expect their monthly payments to increase upon renewal, 81% say it will put financial strain on their household. Again, that's kind of obvious if you're going from a 2.5% rate to a 4.5% rate. Your monthly payments are going to be significantly higher. Respondents in the province of Quebec are least likely to expect increased monthly mortgage payments and financial strain upon renewal. So maybe people in Quebec have just been aggressively paying down their mortgages, not sure what's happening there. More Canadians are looking to sign variable rate mortgages upon renewal as interest rates continue to decline. That's interesting, right? Like even though everyone that just rode the variable had a really terrible last few years in terms of payments, or your amortization just spiked up really, really high. And then as the trade conflict between the United States and Canada intensifies, more aggressive rate cuts by the Bank of Canada are possible to starve off a potential recession. That's one of those cases where, yes, if the tariffs really do come in like we think they could come in, Bank of Canada will have to act fast by bringing down the key overnight rate again. But it's not like a good thing. I mean, they're doing this because the economy would not be in a good place and people would be losing jobs. So according to this report by Royal LePage, 57% of Canadians who are renewing a mortgage on their primary residence expect their monthly mortgage payments to go up, with 35% expect it to increase slightly and 22% expect it to increase significantly. Meanwhile, 25% say that their monthly mortgage payments will remain about the same. So maybe these people made lump sum payments, or they're going from variable rate back to a fixed within $100 of their current payment amount. And with another 15% expect their monthly mortgage payments to decrease upon renewal. So there's some of the key highlights, but let's see the questions that they actually asked in this survey and the responses that were given. We're going to jump over to this page here. And by the way, I'm going to link this down below if you want to review this yourself. The first question was, what type of lender is your mortgage currently with? And basically 86% of people are saying that they're with one of the bigger banks that we have here in Canada. I guess actually people that went with alternative or B lending 5 years ago, or maybe even 1 or 2 years ago, if they can now get back into an A mortgage, they could be the percentage of people that are actually seeing those payments go down because they're going to get a much lower rate. So, okay, that makes sense. Second question is, what type of mortgage do you currently have? So there you go. 75% of people with mortgage renewals in 2025 have a fixed rate mortgage, and 25% or just under 25% have a variable rate mortgage, or they just wouldn't say what it was. So 75, 25. So there you go. That kind of makes sense. Because a lot of people with the variable may have actually switched to a fixed rate mortgage like 1.5 years into the rates going up. What type of mortgage do you plan to obtain upon renewal? Okay, so when your renewal is coming up, what are you going to take? 66% of Canadians are saying that they're going back to the fixed rate option, with 29% saying they're going variable rate. We've actually had quite a few clients recently choose to go with the variable rate, because right now it's very, very similar to where the fixed rate is at. And even if you don't think tariffs are going to come in or at least impact the market like a lot of people believe, there's still thought that Bank of Canada still will continue to cut, probably get that overnight rate to 2.25, where you could still see, even without tariffs, pressure on the interest rates going down from the overnight rate, which could bring down the variable rate. And then, if tariffs do come in and the economy gets bad, the variable rate could go down pretty quickly here. So 29% for variable and 66% for fixed rate. And then you've got, what mortgage term length are you planning to obtain upon renewal? Less than 1 year, 4%. So what's the biggest one here? So 5-year fixed rate is still the most popular. It's always been the most popular. It probably always will be. But look at the 3-year and the 2-year. So 19% on the 3-year, 11% on the 2-year. But you've still got the bulk of it, 37% of Canadians saying that when they renew this mortgage, they are going to take a 5-year. And let's see how it actually changes their mortgage payments. What do you expect will happen to your monthly mortgage payments upon renewal? I expect my monthly mortgage payment to increase significantly, 22% of people renewing. So again, keep in mind, that's 22% of 1.2 million mortgages renewing that expect their monthly payment to increase. The question is then, yes, of course, it's going to increase significantly, but can they afford it? Are they going to have to change other things in their life? Or are they going to have to get to the point that they sell their property? I think that the answer to that is going to be based, obviously, if they can afford it. But I think more people are going to change their lifestyle to hold on to their primary residence. I think investment properties are going to be the ones that they're going to say, like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm just going to sell it. I expect my monthly mortgage payment to increase slightly, 35%, but 57% of people with mortgage renewals in 2025 expect their monthly payments to go higher. Of those who expect their monthly mortgage payments to increase, will an increase in your monthly mortgage payment put financial strain on your household? 34% said yes, it would put financial strain on my household. 47% said yes, it would put slight financial strain on my household. But 81% overall are saying, like, with mortgage payments going up, would that put some level of financial strain on your household? 81% of Canadians are going to be impacted in terms of what their finances are looking like every single month. This survey highlights the reality of the mortgage renewal outlook in 2025. And most Canadians that are going to renew their mortgage are going to have higher payments. The question is going to be is, can they afford those higher payments? Is it going to force them to sell their properties, or are they going to change other things in their life? Remember, every single person in this survey that took a mortgage 5 years ago was stress tested at 5.2%. So right now, when you're renewing your mortgage, most people renewing are going to be in the mid-4 range. So on paper, if nothing's changed in their life, which I know things have for lots of people, they should be able to afford the payment. They might not just like it. And then there are other alternatives that a lot of people are doing, but they're not openly talking about it, where they're extending their amortization back to the beginning, where they're 5 years into a 25-year mortgage. They got 20 years left. The bank goes, hey, you don't like your new payment? Don't worry about it. We'll just push it back to the beginning and we'll bring down that monthly payment. That is not actually good for you as a consumer. If you need it as like a short-term option, I can understand why some people are doing it, but not really talking about it, at least in the media. But I know that is happening a lot. When you talk about the mortgage renewal cliff that we were all waiting for, in my mind, it's like everyone has a 2% rate and they're going to renew at a 5% rate. Well, that's not actually true. I guess it's only 75% of the people. 25% of the people already had a variable rate. So it depends what type of variable rate they had. But I guess that shows that not everyone renewing their mortgage is going to have a higher payment. I hope you found this video valuable. If you have any questions, please make sure to put them below. My name is Tom Storey. And remember, home is where your story begins.